Thank you. Thanks for joining the Local Food Connections Breakout. If you could all put yourself on mute, and then if you would like to speak later, you can definitely unmute yourself to do that. All right, so let's get started with our presentation. And it's going to kick off with Tammy Stotts from Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship.
Awesome. Okay, so talking about Iowa Local Food Day. We did have October 14th. We are going with this day, and because we partner with Healthy Estate 5210, we wanted to make sure that we had schedules that coordinate. But even though we have selected a day, the second Wednesday of the month, we do want, if that doesn't work for your school, we invite you to share or to do a local food day at any time of the month that it does work for you. Resources are still available. We still want you to sign up, and we still want you to share what you're doing. So this, again, on our website, you can find the survey that was done last year and the executive summary as well. But this is just some of the highlights from last year. And you can see their meal participation rates increased 33% of the sites for Local Food Day. 64% of schools received positive feedback from families and staff, and we all know that's amazing. Food hubs fill a critical role in aggregation. So many of the schools using food hubs, so many comments about everyone should know about this. You know, there needs to be more education, and Kayla is going to educate us on that in just a little bit. And then also, of the sites, 91% of the sites had 2 or more local items. Okay, all right, sorry, a little delay there. So we want you to go to the site and register. If you go to the iowalocalfoodday.org site, you can register there, register your school, sign up for promotional items. There's resources on that. There's menu samples. There's talking about how to procure from local growers. The directory, we have the Iowa Farm to School directory. And this year it is changed, and it is now hosted on our department website, and there are hundreds of entries. If you've looked at it in the past and not found what you needed, you need to go back, because there are a ton of entries now of people that want to work with schools and have local food available. And then again, promotion is huge. So we will give you some material to promote. I talked about this a little earlier, but some of the materials we have, there's games, there's books, there's some My Senses, some of those types of things. And some of the material may not be as fitting this year because of our current situation, but it's still resources that you can have for your school. We have banners, we'll have posters to promote. And again, then celebrate our local farmers and celebrate any time in the month that you can. This is a sample of what the directory, you can't see enough of the screenshot, and I apologize, it's blurry. But if you go down, you can scroll in different ways. You can look in the county, and then again, it does some of ours, like some of the food hubs that are listed, serve multiple counties. So if it says multiple, click on that to see what counties they do serve. But you can also then go in as a school and request a quote. You can make a, complete the login information and it will remember you, or you can just look at on a one-time basis. But if you complete the information, it will just remember it so you don't have to enter it again. But I think it's a lot easier than it has been in the past, and really can help you find. We've expanded it too to include a lot of things besides just fruits and vegetables. There's a lot of items on there. And this is something that will be coming out in the next week as well. It will be on our site. It's Fresh Connect, a food database. And so this this takes the directory in a little bit different direction. This is food that is available now. So the food will be, growers will go and list products that they have. Food hubs will list products that are available. You can go and see what it is, see what's available, where it is. There are going to be links to help for delivery and transportation, but it will give you also food hubs, food banks, institutions, schools can go on and see what is available and then contact the grower. You don't actually procure it from the site, but it gives you the contact information. And again, after a certain amount of days, I think it's a week, the product will come off if it's not removed, just because we no longer recognize it as a fresh product. So this will be a great way to, I have a need, you know, an immediate need, what's available, and this will help you find that. It's free on both ends as well. And then I've been encouraging people to take a look at this. This is the USDAAMS. They do an Iowa Farm to School local purchase report. It shows products. The only people reporting into this are school, and there are some food hubs reporting for schools, but this is strictly product being purchased by schools across the state. It shows the product, the form, whether it's sliced or frozen or fresh, and it shows the price range being paid. So this is a great tool to see what other schools are buying and to see what prices are being paid. And at the same time, there's only a small fraction of schools we know reporting right now. It is voluntary and it's anonymous, so no one will know what you reported or who is doing the purchasing. But anybody, we really encourage you, if you're making local purchases, we call local the state of Iowa and the county surrounding, and we encourage you to send that information. John Getz is the person that is in charge of this report, and it can be a simple email, this is what I bought. It can be an invoice or just a phone call even, just showing product and amount paid. So it's a really simple thing to do, and we really encourage you to do that. And also, if you're looking for information on what it is or what your needs might be, this is a good place to start to help form those quotes and bids.
All right. Any questions for Tammy before we move on to Kayla? Tammy, I had a question for you. Sorry, I turned my video off. I was having internet connection issues. As far as the Fresh Connect in the Farm to School directory, can you talk a little bit about the benefits of using one over the other, or would they be duplicative?
No. So the directory basically, growers go in, and the thing I will say is for the directory, every year they have to re-enter product, because we want to make sure that a grower didn't put something in that they were growing 3 years ago and there it still is. So every year they have to re-enter the products they have available. Growers get really busy, you know, at this time of year, and so it may be hard for them to go in and make changes, or these are the crops they've planted, but the Fresh Direct, and the crops that they have available, and it does give you the contact and the quote information. You know, you can obtain a bid request from that directory. The Fresh Connect is more of a immediate availability. So it's somebody going in and saying, hey, I have X amount, you know, this many pounds of squash available for sale. And so anybody that logs onto that can go on and then see, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for, or something didn't happen the way it was supposed to, I need a different product. It is fresh, immediate access. So, and again, it will fall off, or it will be removed from the database after like 7 days if it's not claimed, if it's a fresh product, because we want to make sure it stays fresh. So the Fresh Connect is more immediate, and the other is more of a planned, this is what the grower is planting this year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I see Susie is putting in some great links that Tammy's referenced during her presentation.
Thank you, Susie. Yeah.
So thanks, Susie, for that. Okay, Kayla, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, sounds good. And just to kind of follow up what Tammy was saying on the directory versus Fresh Connect, we were just talking as food hubs about that this morning too. And I think from a purchaser perspective, you can look at the directory as a way to build a relationship with someone and have a sense of what their farm does and what you might ask them for. And like Tammy was saying, plan ahead. Whereas for the Fresh Connect, it's really more of someone says like, wow, I turned out to have a glut of cucumbers and can't use them all in my traditional markets. Does anyone really want cucumbers right now? So I'll introduce myself. I'm Kayla Cater. I'm with Iowa State Extension and Outreach, and I co-facilitate the Food Hub Managers Working Group with Jason Grimm at Iowa Valley RCD. And for those of you who maybe haven't heard of food hubs before, they're essentially institutions throughout the state. Actually, it's a national trend, but in Iowa, we have multiple food hubs throughout the state whose whole mission and reason for existence is to try to create a logistical way to get food from local farmers to consumers. And some are focused on retail consumers, but many are focused on serving institutions like schools. And so the food hubs are really there for you to reach out to help simplify this process by which you can find products that will help you, meet what you want for a local food month, for a local food day, and beyond, because they are running routes and serving schools all year. So we can go to the next slide. I think there's a map there. So you'll see that this is roughly the coverage territory of some of the hubs in the state here, with their name color coordinated, the sort of print they serve. You'll see that we're missing this type of institution in northwestern Iowa. So apologies for folks that don't have kind of a food hub in their footprint. Many of these groups are working hard to try to expand their access, and so if you don't see one that serves you, if you're kind of on the margins, it's worth reaching out to them and also looking again at the directory for what farmers might be nearby that you can directly connect with. But you'll see North Iowa Fresh is that they are that green circle in north central Iowa. They work with schools. So too does the Iowa Food Hub in the northeast corner of the state here. When you get down towards Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Organic Greens and Field to Family both have run routes and help schools get things in that area. And then Farm Table Delivery is the big red oval, and they have a truck as well that they send around. And then Prudent Produce is around Des Moines, as is the Iowa Food Co-op and Grinnell Farm to Table. They might be able to help connect in many ways, especially for some smaller purchasing, although they're not doing quite as extensive delivery routes with some of the larger wholesale quantities that a school might need as those other hubs are. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. So this is a little bit more about each of the hubs, and there is the PDF of some of that information, which maybe we can drop in the chat again so folks know how to find it. But the best bet for each of these hubs, especially those that are doing more of the wholesale to school, is to just reach out to them directly. They will send out availability lists of what they have on hand. So many of these hubs are able to source produce. Many actually work with dairy and yogurt, and some work with meat as well. So they are meant to be sort of a one-stop shop for, case sizes of anything from watermelons and squash to single serving yogurt cups. And because they're working with schools, they are seeing what other schools are ordering as well. And that means that they're not just a great partner for purchasing stuff, but also a great partner for talking through, another school I've worked with bought 4-ounce yogurt cups because they're going to put them in some grab and go meals, and this is how they're serving them. So having that in deep knowledge of the local products, the ability to get them to you, and then also to talk with you a little bit about what they're seeing other schools do for local and how they're purchasing it, preparing it. They can be a good resource in that regard too. All right, I think there might be, is there one more slide? Yeah. So easy spots to start. I know this came up a little bit earlier, but apples are great. Cucumbers, cherry tomatoes are really good. Watermelons, popular for sure, and cabbage. It seems like a lot of schools really like to make cabbage in coleslaw and find good ways to use it, and it's available. Many of these items are at a price point that are not that different from what you'll find on your price lists from your regular distributors, which is nice for schools as well. And of course, some things that kids are familiar with that in other years might have gone in a salad bar, but now might be good to cut into small quantities on the tray, like carrots, radishes, peppers, are all things that are pretty easy points of entry, both for kids and I think for prep staff and kitchens, that are also grown in large enough quantity in Iowa to get to you, and that food hubs and farmers have sources for. So those are all some ideas about where to start. And I think one of the things to keep in mind if you ask a food hub for a product and they don't have it, again, even the food hubs will be using that Fresh Connect site. And so the food hubs are really working hard together to try to make sure that schools get what they need. And so there might be a product like yogurt that, like the Country View Dairy is here in Northeast Iowa where I am. But if you wanted to get that product in your neck of the woods, sometimes the hubs can work together to, one hub can pick it up and get it to another hub, and that hub can get it to you. So it's worth inquiring, and we are working really hard collaboratively across the state to build some of the supply chains and logistics to help get as much local food to schools as possible, even if that means doing some shuffling around the state where things are available or and moving them around.
Thanks,
I
Kayla.
think that's most of what I have for a short presentation. Yeah, but happy to answer questions when we get there.
Okay, thanks, Kayla. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. Kayla, I had a question for you. Looking at this list, what would you say would be the items to strive for when it comes to October, when we're talking about Local Food Day and Farm to School Month? So I know this list includes some summer produce. So what would be like your top 3 if you're looking to purchase something in October?
Apples for sure, cabbage for sure. It kind of depends, like the things that are more sensitive depending on our frost date would be like cherry tomatoes and cucumbers, and peppers would be, and watermelon. But I think you'd be pretty safe with the apples, cabbage, carrots. Yogurt is always available, as is winter squash, and probably radishes too.
Okay.
We might have some availability of the other stuff in the early part of October, but sometimes we lose. It's too bad we lose peppers. They're a really great snack, I think, for kids. The sweet red peppers are a really good one that kids like, but they might still be around.
Okay, thanks. And then we did have a question come in regards to the food hubs. Could home daycares access the food hub, or is it just for schools?
Absolutely. So the food hubs sell to a wide range of customers, and I guess I wanted to underscore that they do support schools, just because some it's harder for schools to sort of get food in the quantity that they need from any one farmer. So if you're an ECE or in-home daycare, you can certainly order from a food hub. And I would say, if you're ordering in smaller quantities, depending on the number of kids at your center or at your in-home daycare, you could even work with some of the food hubs that are actually more sized to serve direct to family consumers, like people that have that. For example, the Iowa Food Co-op in Des Moines has an online grocery store, or Tony at Prudent Produce also does online ordering and door delivery, which I think would both be really convenient for you as an early child care center, but also, if you're not looking for 3 bushel boxes of apples and you really just want a mid-sized bag of apples and a couple of cabbages, then there are some things that some of the smaller hubs can kind of hunt and pick for you to get, like a grocery bag of local items, which is really nice. But the larger hubs will be able to serve you too.
Okay, thanks. All right, well, if you think of other questions, please continue to put them in the chat box. I just wanted to provide you an update of a USDA Farm to School grant that Iowa Department of Education received this summer. So it's going to be a 2-year grant, and it's approximately $100,000. We are partnering with TAMI, with the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship, as well as the Iowa Farm to School and Early Care Coalition to implement this grant. The main focus is to expand upon IDL's Choose Iowa campaign, and we are going to have Choose Iowa Food of the Month. So each month we will feature a different local product, and there'll be supplemental resources and tools for each food that can be used in schools, childcare, and summer food service sponsors. So we're looking to get that content writer started on the project this fall. We hope to release the resources in January, February, and then there'll be sub-grants that schools, summer food service, and child care centers can apply for to support local level implementation of the campaign materials, as well as purchasing local food. So we were working to develop that magical list of those 12 food items, and each of those food items will have a poster, a fact sheet, a food-based learning lesson based on the different audiences and age groups, taste testing resources, recipes, and parent resources as well. So we're very excited about this partnership. We're excited to expand upon an existing campaign promoting Iowa local foods. And we just wanted to let you know about it and to stay tuned, because more information will be coming in January or February, and there'll be a webinar to launch this campaign. So you will receive information about that, as well as the sub-grant opportunities. And we wanted to thank you. There will be an evaluation form coming after today's webinar. So if you could complete that, that helps us give us feedback for future training. We also encourage you to stay connected. You'll receive the slide deck, so you'll be able to access each of these links. But there is a COVID-19 resources that ways to incorporate local food when it comes to the pandemic. And there's also a link to our website, which will hopefully be launched very soon. We also have a weekly newsletter you can be added to if you are not part of that already, or you can just send us an email if you have any questions, ideas, best practices, success stories. We love to share the great work that you're doing. So that's iowaf2sec@gmail.com. And I did see a couple comments, and I think they were just comments about the resources. So great. Thank you so much for participating today. And this is the end of the webinar. So when you sign off, you will not get back to the main group. You'll be just closing Zoom for today. And I hope you have a great rest of the day and a great weekend.
Thank you.